This is our ancestral village. We go back at least, 6 or 7 generations back. And because of that, there was just a very small acreage that came to my possession, about a couple of acres. And slowly but surely, just like how a bird builds its nest, we started to grow the acreage, buy small parcels of land. And right now it's about 13 acres. Hey, my name is Kribashankar. I do a couple of things. Number one, I run a digital consulting firm. We advise corporate companies on digital strategies and we execute it for them. Second is I'm a professor of digital marketing. I teach at a few B schools. Third is I'm a professional speaker and the co-founder of the Professional Speakers Association of India. But more importantly, something that's really closest to my heart is that I'm an organic farmer. I run Vaksana Farms, which is a 13-acre organic farm. So this is my this village called Rettanai. It's a beautiful little postcard perfect village that's about 120 kilometers from Chennai. It's about a 2.5-hour drive. And this place is called Rettanai because it's sandwiched between 2 rivers, Irattai Anai. And that's how the name. It's a beautiful little village. I spent my initial part of my childhood out here. This village is my maternal village, which is my mom's village. Her father, her grandfather, and their forefathers, everyone came from here. Something very close to my heart because I remember spending a lot of my childhood in this village. There are multiple incidents that makes this farm special to me. One, of course, is the fact that I'm born in a family that are agriculturists to the heart. And I would love to continue that tradition. I don't want to be the person who breaks the chain. So I have to tell you that the last time this farm was ever plowed was almost 40 years ago when my grandfathers passed away and the land remained fallow. There was no farming that happened. So for me, it's a matter of pride that 10 years before I wanted to come and restart, I didn't want to lose the roots. So that's why it's all the more special to me. We've segmented the farm into multiple areas. What you see behind me is the food forest where we grow about 18 different varieties of fruit trees, and my aim is to grow about 30 different varieties of fruits out here. We follow the 5-layer farming method. So that's one area. Another area where we grow about 2 acres of mango grove. We have about 6 different varieties of mangoes, and another 4 acres that is dedicated for timber forest. These are trees like mahogany and teak and even sandalwood and redwood, rosewood, all those which takes about 20 years or 30 years to mature. And then we have a couple of acres that is only relegated for growing paddy or for growing millets, and those are for home consumption. And we have about half an acre dedicated for the cows where we grow grass, special varieties of grass for them. So this is how we have segmented the entire farm. So one of my mentors actually told me, in anything in life, there has to be at least 3 reasons why you should take a life decision. And he equated this to a chair. If the chair had only 1 leg, it will fall down. If it has 2 legs, it will still fall. But if it has at least 3 or 4 legs, then that's when it gives you stability for you to sit on. Similarly, even with the farm, I applied the same principle. And one of the important reasons why we wanted to have the farm, myself and Sujani, my wife, is this is a place that we really wanted to retire. This is a place for our sunset years. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is I love farming. Growing is so meditative. It's so calming. So that's the second reason. You almost feel like motherhood because you're giving birth to multiple plants and you get a chance to grow varieties of animals and birds. The third one is also the reason is for my parents. I wanted my parents to lead a nice, enjoyable life. Living in the village is so much more has a better quality of life than if you were to coped up within an apartment in the city. So so for me, these were the three reasons why. My fourth reason is this is a financial investment for my two daughters, and when they grow up and grow old, even if they wanted to do farming at that point in time or wanted to have a farm, it can become prohibitively expensive 20 years or 30 years later. So this is an investment for my kids. There are two types of investment, right? The first one is a capital expenditure, which is required for you to buy land. That's usually a lump sum money that you need to plonk in right in the front. And then there is the operations expenditure, and this is where salaries of workers who come and work, investments into procuring plants, investment into getting day laborers for you to work on the field, investment in hiring tractors and equipments for you to do. So that's an ongoing one. So it's a substantial investment. So my advice to anyone wanting to start a farm is be prepared to spend, at least in the initial stages. That's a non-negotiable. It's something. It's like living with the devil, part of it, right? So it's only when you go through that initial phase of expenditure, that's when you start to see the benefits of it much later. Because once you have spent the money, once the farm has matured, then it starts to yield back slowly but surely in multiple ways. I'm fairly certain that the money that you spend, you can recoup, but it'll take a couple of decades for you to do that. In a 4 to 5 acre farm, which I think is a kind of a sweet spot, anything between 3 and 5 acres is a kind of good one. The first, of course, is the cost of the land, and that can vary anywhere between 10 lakhs to 30 lakhs depending on which area that you're going and seeking. The second is, of course, salaries. Typically, salaries are between 10 and 15,000 if you want to have a full-time person come and stay at your farm. Another expense is procuring manure, buying plants, and plowing the land, de-weeding, fertilizing, harvesting. So every single thing that you touch and do will cost money. So, but over a period of time, you will start to become smart. You will figure out what's the right season to grow. You will figure out, instead of buying your own equipment, you would rather just rent out the equipments just for those. So you'll find ways for that, but everything costs money. It's the number one most important aspect to take care of if you want to start a farm, which is you need to have the buy-in from all family members. The journey of farming becomes so much more enjoyable when you have support of your immediate family members. So ensure that you get their buy-in first. Also, speak with them and find out what it is that makes certain aspects of it that they enjoy doing. So let me give you an example. See, my dad loves tinkering with vehicles. So he gets old vehicles that are completely condemned, and he loves getting them back to life. So we have a garage behind our farmhouse where he goes and does all his workshop style tinkering, soldering. So that's one thing that my dad loves doing. My mom loves cooking. So she loves to play host to people, and so because we have a farm stay business, she loves to cook for guests. My grandma loves flowers, and what she does is, so we pick flowers and she makes that into a garland and she gives them to temples. My daughters love animals, so we have lots of farm animals, dogs and pony and cows and calves. We earlier had donkeys and ducks and turkeys. My wife, Sujini, she loves growing vegetables, hence we have a vegetable garden, and we want to make that even bigger. So when they come in, each one of them should feel as if it is their creation. There should be skin in the game for them. And when that happens, then it becomes a superb, enjoyable joint project. Yeah, that definitely is a possibility. Not everyone is gifted with having an ancestry that's into farming, very understandable. In fact, there's a huge wave that's going on right now where there are professionals, these are doctors or mainly IT engineers or lawyers in the city wanting to lead a life close to nature, wanting to lead a very self-sustainable, regenerative, healthy lifestyle, and many people are actually starting farming while they are also having a full-time job or a full-time career. So definitely yes, you can start farming with zero farming background. However, I would advise the following. Number one, before you even start a farm, do baby steps before you make the big jump. So what do I mean by that? Go and volunteer in other farms. That's an excellent way for you to get to know both sides. What does it take to run a farm? It is not as rosy and easy as you see in YouTube videos. It takes a lot of effort and time. So by going and volunteering in other farms, you kind of warm up to the idea. Second, what I advise is lease a land. Take about half an acre of land or 1 acre of land, run it for 6 months or a year, and try and see how you enjoy doing it, right? So that's like almost like a semi-commitment. And ask yourself, are you enjoying this journey? Is this something that everybody in your family is enjoying? If so, then finally take the big jump, which is go and invest in 3 acres, 5 acres of land that you want to do, and then start your farming journey. That would be my advice. There are lots of positives of running a farm. I mean, where do I even get started? So the ones that immediately comes to my mind is one, it's an amazing stress buster. Just staying in the lap of nature, having lots of greenery around, it's flush with oxygen. So I think there's something to do with being away from pollution that does to your psyche. There's a lot more positivity when you're at the farm. I can say this with confidence because I lead a dual life. I spend half the time at the farm in the village and half the time in the city. So I know the difference. The second advantage that I see is really the happiness of the family. If this is a joint activity of family members, it becomes like a fantastic family project, and it really brings the family members much closer together. The third one is just the healthy food. Because we are growing our own fruits, we are growing our own vegetables, we know that we are only putting organic manure out there. We are not using pesticides. We are not using any chemical fertilizers. So we can eat with a lot more confidence. So on the subject of health is also the physical fitness, because farming involves a lot of physical activity. It's much better than going to a gym and paying gym fees, trust me. So all of these becomes hugely beneficial. There's also the financial benefit of it. Of course, this comes a little later as your farm matures. There are income from the produce, income from products, income from hosting workshops, income from having homestays. So these are all incomes that will eventually come. The last one that I think is also, it's something that is not important for me, but you can't miss it as well, which is really the investment, because land appreciates a lot. Land appreciates more than apartments do. So what you've invested right now will grow multifold in terms of value in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now. And that's why I think it's one of the best gifts that you can give to your children is a farm, because much later it will be very difficult for them to buy land the way how you're able to buy now. So these are the advantages of having a farm. So there are disadvantages, and it's very important that anyone who's starting a farm must be cognizant of these. The first one is that you need to have capital. It sucks in money, so you need to be prepared for that. The second disadvantage that I see is that this is like a lifelong commitment. I would equate it to a marriage. Once you've started it, you need to continue to keep to work on the farm, just like how we work on a marriage to make it better. The third disadvantage is that it also kind of chains you to the place. If you're traveling out for, let's say, a week or 10 days, you will have farm animals. you need to make sure that they are taken care of. So you need to make some alternative arrangements for that. So that's one disadvantage. The fourth and the final one is this just the sheer, I think, physical labor that you need to be prepared for that. If you are not fit or if you are a little old, you may want to be wary of it. In my opinion, that's a big advantage, just being physically fit, but you also have to take others or your own physicality in count before you start a farm. So having good sources of income is super important, and for us, this beauty that you see behind, that's a small little cute compact farmhouse, and that's called Pico. That has made a huge difference to our farm. I'll tell you exactly the difference it made to us and why, if you're considering a farm, why having a farm stay will make sense. Let's go. Yeah. All right, now that we are inside the Pico, as you can see, there's just a simple 400 square feet house, but everyone who comes inside the house says, oh, it looks so much more bigger inside. And that's because it's been constructed using an open plan. And this place can actually comfortably sleep 6 people. We have 2 mezzanine floors, and it's just perfect for families. And so right now, in terms of occupancy, we are doing really well. It's because when people come and stay here, they have such a good experience. They go tell their family, they tell their friends, and the entire booking has come through word of mouth. And that in turn has really helped us with an important source of income coming in every month. But there's also another important thing. We started, my dad and mom have now suddenly become, it's become a blessing for them. Because both of them are 70 plus and they need something to occupy themselves with. They need a purpose. So mom's now taking care of cooking for all the guests. Dad takes care of all the logistical things that are needed for the guests. So really good to see them being very active at that age. And a third way how the farm stay is really helping is because it is now having that magnetic effect of attracting people to come to the farm. This gives you opportunities to actually upsell. So now we can actually make products from our farm, fruit jams and pickles and various other things. We can actually make it, and that can be sold. So that's an additional source of income as well. So I strongly recommend that if you're considering building a farm, it should not just be a place for you to stay, but also for guests to come in, because the social nature of it as well as the monetary aspect of it, it's a definite plus. All right, so here's my verdict. Now that you've watched the entire video, I'm going to say, if you plan to start a farm and a farm stay, fall in love with the journey and not the end product. Typically, we envisage a beautiful farm, a very nice, beautiful house. Those are all just end products. But the creation of that, the ideation, the brainstorming, getting all the family together, I think the journey is the most enjoyable part of it. And I'm going to encourage you to go all in. It's an amazing journey. It's one of the best decisions that I've taken in my life, which is starting Vaksana Farms, and I wish you the same. So all the very best. Auntie, careful. Oh, I should have asked you to capture this. No, I mean, awesome.
I actually thought there is one.